Hey yo, what's poppin', fellas? It's your boy here, and we are back for some more Fire Emblem Heroes. So, keeping up with the daily content releases, which you guys seem to just absolutely love. So, we're doing requests, and we have a request from two people today for today's video. So, Violet's wife, he says, "Hey Tacho, I have a request. Could you possibly do a tier list on the best character from each series? For example, for 3 houses, it would be Summer Edelgard." So we're going to go ahead and get to that, and this request was made by also our boy over here, Darkstalker696. He says, do a tier list ranking the individual power level of each title. So that's what we're doing today. We're going to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. We've got 2 people requesting similar content here, so might as well get to it. What we're going to do is take a look at the power of every entry in the game. We're going to take a look at each individual entry. We're going to see how deep their barracks are and which characters I think are the best from each title. Now, I've already gone ahead and made a little tier list here talking about that. So I would say these are the strongest overall titles in the game. This is my tier list at the moment. So for top tier, we have Fire Emblem Heroes. Should go without saying, all of the OCs end up in there, and a lot of the OCs are pretty busted. So things like Duo Dagger, Duo Asker, Duo Thor, and etc., all are in Heroes. So of course Heroes is strong. We've got 3 houses, of course, the game that they just cannot stop just wanking like every 5 seconds. We just get 3 houses banners every single time. Even when the banner is not focused on 3 houses, we still get like a free hero from 3 houses. In the case of the Brave banner, where it was none of the winners were from 3 houses. So they're like, okay, let's just throw Cyril in there just to get some 3 houses. So yeah, like we can't go a single celebration without 3 houses. Then Awakening and Fates are both really powerful. They've got access to some awesome duo heroes and just some really good characters in general. So Awakening and Fates are up there as far as like how good their barracks are. Then for the high tier, we've got Blazing Blade, which has a lot of good options in it, such as Legendary Ninian, Harmonic Roy, and etc. We've got Radiant Dawn as well. Radiant Dawn is like carrying Tellius pretty much. A lot of the good stuff from Path of Radiance ends up on the Radiant Dawn roster for some reason. So Radiant Dawn has some really good options in it. We've got Echoes as well. Echoes is kind of surprising. You'll see when we talk about Echoes how good the roster is. Sacred Stones is also up there. There's a lot of good options, and it seems like they do a good job whenever they do Sacred Stones banners with good character choices and pretty good kits on the units. So Sacred Stones is also in the high tier. Then we come to the mid tier. This is where the barracks start to get a little rough, and this is where you're probably going to struggle when it comes to limited hero battles. So another point of this video is to hopefully try to give people advice on which units they may want to be seeking if they're having trouble with limited hero battles with these specific titles as we start to get lower down on the list. So Genealogy, kind of rough. They don't really have too many good units outside of the Selifs and also a couple of rare like harmonic heroes. Then for Engage is actually pretty good based on how little the roster is, but they do have access to some good stuff even though it's very rare. Right now, we've only had like 1 or 2 Engage banners. So Engage just needs a bigger barracks. They just need more releases at the moment, but they do have good stuff. Binding Blade is kind of barren. I took a look at Binding Blade, and there's really not much in there. So they're being carried by Blazing Blade for the most part. Shadow Dragon and New Mystery is also kind of barren. There's not really too much in there going on. And then finally, we have low tier, which is where this is where things get pretty rough. So like TMS, I don't even know why I bothered ranking TMS at all. They've had 1 banner in the entire run of this game, and it's doubtful if they're even going to get another banner at all, even though a lot of the characters are still doing pretty good in Choose Your Legends, right? So like, I have no idea what's going to happen with TMS, but they're the ones that made the bright idea to have it included as one of the separate entries, and it also shows up in resonant battles from time to time. Thank God there's never been a limited hero battle for TMS, because we would be so out of luck. Alright, then there's Thracia, aka Thracia. There's like 1 or 2 good units from there, so that's also going to be all the way at the bottom. And then Path of Radiance, which, like I said, is very much carried by Radiant Dawn. The good thing about Path of Radiance is that even though the roster is a little bit lacking, anytime they do limited hero battles, for some reason, they let you use Radiant Dawn and Path of Radiance characters together. So even if Path of Radiance itself isn't the best, at the very least, Radiant Dawn is holding it down. So Path of Radiance, I wouldn't worry about too much if your barracks are lacking. So let's go ahead and take a look now at the actual best characters from each title that I came up with. So for Shadow Dragon and New Mystery, we have Bride Tiki. And then for honorable mentions, which will be in the parentheses here, I've got Medeus and Fallen Maria. Let's go ahead and quickly pull up Shadow Dragon and New Mystery. And we'll sort units by BST, I guess, just to get the new stuff out. So Bride Tiki, I would say, is probably the best unit here overall. There's a bunch of armored Tiki Dragon units and like Nagi as well, like a bunch of bait units, but Tiki's definitely the best one, the Bride Tiki. So I have her as the best option here. The Duo Marth is not too bad with his refine, so you could get some use out of him. Medeus is pretty nice for Aether Raids, and he's okay like elsewhere. He can be a solid tank for like limited hero battles. Astrum's an okay merge project. His refine is okay. He can buff the team a bit. Baby Marth needs his refine. Brave Marth is about to get his refine next month, so we're going to see how good he ends up being. Summer Norn is a nice merge project. Legendary Marth is okay with his remix. And there's pretty much not too much else here. Bunny Marie is okay. Like, she's actually kind of nuts. Going to be interesting to see what her refine does. She was the first unit to introduce, like, true DR. So that's a crazy one. Maria, Fallen Maria, like I said, she is an honorable mention on my list. The Kid Merrick is pretty solid, but he needs a refine. He's a little bit dated at this point, so just getting a refine for him would be doing wonders for what he can do. And that's pretty much it. I mean, Goto's okay. He gives you support for protection against AoEs, which can be nice. It's actually really good to combo with Fallen or with Legendary Robin, who debuffs your team. So the one weakness to debuffs is AoEs, so Goto could actually help you out there. Zane, I don't know if I want to talk about this guy. He potentially, like on paper, he's nuts, but is he really? And I think that's just about like all the notable stuff. Lindy is also pretty good too. She gives the support for null follow-up and nullifying terrain. So that could be good with Lindy, but I'm a little disappointed by her actual power herself. Like in combat, she just lacks a little bit of stopping power. So those are the notable units from New Mystery and Shadow Dragon there. All right, let's go ahead and move on to Echoes up next. Now for Echoes, I claim that Bride Catria is the best unit from this roster, and I don't think anyone's going to disagree with that. And for notable options, we also have Legendary Alm and Legendary Celica, who got really sick refines and remixes. So like Legendary Celica, her B skill is basically a better version of Magic Null Follow-Up. Cuts DR, gives her Desperation Null Follow-Up, and it's just really sick. Her weapon's also pretty strong too. Legendary Alm as well. Like these are really good remixes and player phase units that get buffed so crazy by Catria's triangle attack. Then there's Bunny Sonia for the pulse effect on her duo skill and the nuking capabilities and the jumping. Duo Alm is actually kind of like a hidden good option. Let's quickly bring him up. I want to show off his duo skill here. This guy is... his refine was pretty solid. He's just going under the radar a little bit, but check this out. So on his duo skill, he neutralizes any penalties, recovers 30 HP, and gives attack and speed up 6 to himself and all allies in 5 rows and 5 columns, which is a pretty wide radius of effect. That's basically a team-wide heal right there. So similar to the reason why King Freyr is so good is the neutralization of penalties at the start of the turn. But, of course, you can still get penalized mid-combat, or mid-turn, by certain other effects, like the Snag level 4 can do that mid-turn, like the enemies can just reposition and get a debuff on your team without having to do it at the start, which would bypass King Freyr. So being able to do this is nice. Also, it's a pretty good counterplay to Emblem, who can be annoying in summoner duels depending on the situation and the map. So just being able to turn off penalties, get the recovery too, which is strong against AoEs that can like chip your team down on health, and then just getting the stat bonus. I think this Duo Alm is actually pretty good. He makes for a solid God Axe unit as well with his refine and remix, or I guess just his refine here. So he's giving himself speed up 3 if he's got an active bonus or his HP is over 25%. He gets all stats up 4. Does damage to his, or boosts his attack and speed based on 25% of the foe's defense. So the tankier they are, the better off he's looking. And then he also inflicts a penalty on the enemy's attack and defense equal to 25% of the enemy's res. So by stacking bulk, you're actually going to be even worse off against this guy. He's got tempo as well on his effect remix, and let's see what else. Yeah, he gets tempo there, and then if he's in 2 spaces of an ally, he gets another all stats of 4, and then he neutralizes enemy bonuses, so he's got like built-in dull close and dull distant dull and like dull close. So yeah, this guy, he's kind of slept on. He's actually pretty good. All right, what else was there from Echoes that we need to look at? Let's see. And then Halloween Duma, of course, it's pretty obvious. Like, Halloween Duma is a very nice far save armor type. Rudolph also got a pretty solid refine. You could get some use out of him if you've got him. Let's see, is there anything else notable? I guess, like, Valbar is an okay merge project. Kamui is actually okay, too. He's not a bad God Sword, but he's not, like, one of the premier ones. Valentian Catria got a sick refine as well. All right, is there anything else here that's worth mentioning? Let's see. All right, Python's okay. He's solid if you've got him built up. And yeah, that's pretty much for the most part everything of note. So Echoes is solid. Not a bad roster. All right, let's move on to Genealogy up next. So T-Ira I called as the best unit from Fire Emblem 4. And then honorable mentions, we've got Brave Seliph, T-Sigurd, and Harmonic Dorothea. So should go without saying, I mean, T-Ira's got the most mobility and then the most Kanto. So this game can be summed up in 2 ways. How many spaces do you move and how many spaces can you Kanto back, right? So like T-Ira is a god at both. Moving 4 spaces and then Kantoing away 4 spaces is pretty good. So other notable options, let's see here. What do we got? Arden solid if you want to like near save armor type. Travin's actually pretty good now. With Gambit 4 and his refine, like, this dude's cooking. Yeah, Brave Seliph, of course. Legendary Seliph as well. Actually, I'm surprised I didn't mention Legendary Seliph. Let's bring him up. This dude won the lottery for sure. In terms of remixes, like, holy shit. They gave this dude everything. They gave him Null C as well. Like, that was so clutch to give him. He's got Null C. He's got, like, massive amounts of DR, reminiscent of Brave Ike from back in the day. So, like, they really played favorites with Seliph there. All right, this Tailtew's not a bad merge project. She is a free-to-play tome unit from Tempest Trials. Yeah, a lot of the tome units you see here can just run the same build, like Special Spiral 4 times Pulse 4, and they can carry for sure if you've got dance support. All right, Scion Leaf is okay. Eldigan's a very nice dancer and merge project. Legendary Leaf is okay. He's good enough for limited battles, so if you're struggling with Thracia or Genealogy limited battles, then Leaf is definitely pretty good for those. There's also Legendary Deirdre, who is solid, and that's pretty much it. Duo Sigurd as well. He's a nice dance option. So just some units to look out for Genealogy. Thracia, on the other hand, is in, like, the pits, man. They've got nothing of value here. So Legendary Nana is the only, like, super meta unit that they've got here. And then the rest is just a bunch of bullshit, honestly. Like, Avel's refine. Are you running Avel? She got her refine like a month or 2 ago. Are you really going to run her? Ascended Marita, unfortunately, is basically just Vital Astra fodder. Lithis is okay. He can play a God Axe role if you want, but he's not one of the premier options for that. Karen's actually okay as a Lance unit to build. So Karen would probably accompany Legendary Nana, I guess. Kempf is okay as a merge project. Tanya's okay as a merge project, too. Actually, she's pretty good. Like, okay doesn't do her enough justice. She is pretty good. Scion Leaf again. So if you're struggling with FE4 and 5, just like Jugdral limited battles, Scion Leaf could be a solid pickup if you're looking for him. And then, of course, we've got Caden Lindy, who's okay. But like I said, my issues apply to her here as well. She can't really carry the damage by herself. It's really just the support. And then we got Rhine Daddy, of course, old school, an oldie but a goodie still. So yeah, those are the options from Thracia. Pretty limited, honestly. There's no like nuking mage unit we can really run with the Special Spiral build and the times Pulse 4, unless you want to use Sias, who's not really the best at doing that. So yeah, Thracia is like out of luck. All right, next up, let's move on to Binding Blade. So I've called Harmonic Roy the best just because I didn't want to do Bride Catria again. Obviously, Catria is the best character from this title, but I wanted to pick someone who's actually from Binding Blade, so we got Roy there instead. Ascended Idune is also another honorable mention, so there she is. Basically just Brave Hector 2.0. The duo Idune is pretty solid too. Her remix was fine. Like her refine, you can get away with it. Murdoch is a nice merge project, and he's okay. The OG Idune is actually okay too. Her refine wasn't that bad, so you can use her if you want. Echidna is awesome, but most of her power comes from pairing her with Legendary Robin, who you would not be able to use in a limited hero battle, so I have to like not mention Echidna for this, but she is very good, of course. There's Ascended Fear, who's just dead on arrival. All right, what else we got? Legendary Roy, who is unfortunately not really living up to expectations. Kath is a pretty solid merge project. We just need the Arcane Dagger to really put her over. Dorothy is amazing. Dorothy's actually really good. All right, anything else worthwhile? Let's see here. Yeah, like I said, Harmonic Roy, I would say, because he just does so much. He's giving you the Treachery. He gives you the defense and res up 6, and then the Resonant Shields with his duo skill. And then his C skill gives attack and speed up 6 to allies within 3 spaces that are not beasts or dragons. And then he has effective damage on beasts and dragons, so he's just really good. Brunya's refine was not it, unfortunately. Legendary Guinevere, it's such a shame, man. Like, how could they follow up Legendary Hinoka with this unit here? And you look at how crazy Hinoka is and how underpowered Guinevere is. It's just not fair, man. Why they have to do Guinevere so dirty? Yeah, Larum is basically your only dance option for FE6, so it can be rough, but this Larum was free to play, so maybe a worthwhile unit to build. She's also not bad. She's got a lot of speed and a super boon there, and she can run like Guidance 4 and Soaring Guidance. And then we've got Legendary Lilina and Bride Lilina as well. They can clap people pretty hard with the AoE specials, so pretty good. And that's basically all the notable options from FE6. So let's go ahead and move on to FE7 now. All right, so Blazing Blade. This one is a solid entry. They've got some good stuff. So Bunny Carla is who I named as their best unit, but it could have gone either way. There's a lot of good options here. Like Young Mark was an option there too, and also Legendary Ninian. They are all very powerful, but I just went for Bunny Carla for the nuking potential. So also we've got Baby Hector, Brave Hector, Flame Lin, Bramimond, and Ninja Lin. Your typical, like, solid unit options there. So let's see. Is there anything else here worth noting? Anything at all. Guy is a solid merge project. Linus, Fallen Linus is a pretty good merge project. Heath is actually pretty nice with his refine. Believe it or not, like, hold on. Let me show you guys this. This dude's refine was legit. Especially with Gambit 4. Oh, wait, no. Am I thinking of somebody else? I might be. I could have swore Heath was the one who got his refine, not this guy. Somebody else. It might have been Har who got a crazy refine. All right, Baby Becca's solid if you've got her. She's a seasonal 4-star, though. Yeah, Bunny Carla is who I said was the best. Kent is a solid merge project, too. With all the dragon flowers that he gets and the double boons on attack and speed, he's pretty solid. Anything else worth mentioning? Let's see here. I guess Caden Nino's okay. I think that's probably about it. Legendary Eliwood, obviously, and Baby Eliwood can provide the bonus doubler support, so that could be something good. And, yeah, I think that's just about it, like all the notable options. So, FE7's got some good stuff. It's got some good supporters. It's got a nice mix of armored units and player phase nukes and such and such. All right, let's go ahead and move on to Sacred Stones up next. So Summer Ephraim is who I consider the best unit from this roster. And other options we've got are Famortis. We've got Jarek, who is a god of support. Legendary Myrrh, I just tossed her in there for the Warp Bubble. We got Flame Tana as well. Very nice support unit, especially with Guidance 4 or Soaring Guidance support. Harmonic Lysithea, Rearm Tana, and then Baby Larichel. So those are the standout units that I came up with. Let's see, is there anything else? Vigard, of course. Very nice merge project with him. Duo Ephraim can still get in work. You can give him the Tempest Seal, the Odd Tempest Sacred Seal, and he can permanently move 3 spaces. And he can be a pretty good Gale Force option, so he's nice for the limited hero battles. Alright, Ross's Refine is okay, despite what everyone might try to tell you. Vanessa's a pretty good merge project too. She's basically as good as Karen. This is the guy here. Cormag is the one who I was thinking of, not Heath. So this guy's Refine, man. You give this dude Gambit 4 and he's cooking. So -1 special trigger, gets all stats up 4. If his HP is over 75%, then he makes a guaranteed follow-up. And then also, if his HP is over 25%, he gets all stats of 4 again. Inflicts guard on the enemies, and then he gets 15% points of true damage based on his defense. So, a very nice combo there with Gambit 4 with him. He can also run the flyer support skills like Guidance 4 and also Soaring Guidance. Joshua's pretty good too. Can't forget about him, Ascended Joshua. There's also a bunch of nuking units, too, that you can run Special Spiral 4 and Times Pulse on if you're interested in that. Brave Eric is about to get refined this month, so that's another good option. And I believe Reeve is nice, too, actually. Believe it or not, Reeve can be a good option. He inflicts Stall and all stats -5 on enemies. And then you can run the Special Spiral and Times Pulse build on him to make him a nuker. So yeah, that's just about it. Tethys is a nice dancer. She's free to play, so if you need one, then there you go. And that pretty much covers us for Sacred Stones. So let's go ahead and move on to Path of Radiance, where, yeah, the roster here is pretty lacking, honestly. Like, Path of Radiance, what do we have? Harmonica Zura, who's not even from Path of Radiance. That's who I have as the best unit here. I mean, Winter Burger King is okay, I guess. I'm not a fan of Baby Ike, but I guess he's okay. Like, Ninja Zehark, if you've got him at +10, he's a seasonal 4-star, then he's actually a pretty good God Sword. He's, like, better than Guy by a slight amount. He's got 1 more point of speed. But it's not better to the point where I would say, like, he's worth spending the orbs on. Ashnard needs his Refine badly. He's going to be good with his Refine. Brave Ike is done. Put him away. Marcia is okay. She's a good merge project, as is Tanith. They're both pretty good. Volk can be a nice player phaser. Shinnon as well. He's a nice player phaser. Petrine needs her Refine at this point. Baby Soren's alright. Astrid is nice for the bonus doubler support. Alencia is not that. Not this Alencia. The Ascended one is the good one, but she's from Radiant Dawn. And that's pretty much it. Unfortunately, the new Brave Soren is also from Radiant Dawn, so that's another RIP for Path of Radiance. But luckily, as I said earlier, you can run Radiant Dawn stuff when we have limited hero battles for Path of Radiance. They just count both as one game. So Radiant Dawn is just carrying Path of Radiance pretty much. So Lucia is my best unit, I would say, for Radiant Dawn. That's who I think is the best, but I mean, this could go either way. Like, Summer Edelgard's overall probably better. There's also Brave Soren, who's really nice, and Altina as well. So it just depends on what you're looking for out of your unit. Kanegus is a nice bait option. Fallen Ike is also pretty good, but that would be with Legendary Robin support. I should probably actually take him off of there, but I mean, we got him in there for old time's sake. So what else is there that's good from here? Let's see. Kurtnaga's okay, and also Ina by extension. They're both pretty solid. This Flame Mordecai and Morim too, I like both of these guys as merge projects, especially with all the new beast skills that we're getting. Yeah, Ino we mentioned earlier. Har, not this one, but the other Har is actually pretty good with his Refine. We'll bring him up when we get to him. Altina's a god with the remix. This Soren's actually not bad, this Caden Soren. Like, you can get some use out of him as a nuker. He's got a lot of res, so he makes good use of, like, Iceberg with Special Spiral 4. Bastion as well, but we just need that Arcane Green Tome, and then this dude is cooking. Once we get that, look at this res stat there, 46. Crazy. Alright, there's also this Alencia here, the Summer Alencia. She's pretty good. Nasala's pretty good. Yeah, dude, this Har, his Refine, you give this guy Gambit 4, and this dude is a monster. Okay, it's taking a while to load here. We'll come back when it's done loading, but Ascended Alencia is really good too. There's also Duo Micaiah, I guess. She was the best unit in the game when she came out, but, I mean, that was a very long time ago. And that's pretty much it for, like, notable options here. You've also got Racin as a very good dancer. So, Har's Refine, look at this. So, man has built-in Iode Shield, and then he's weak to Thunder Magic like he was in the original games. And then he's got a Brave Attack with speed -5, and if he initiates combat or is in 2 spaces of an ally, he gets attack and defense up 5, and he also reduces damage from foes' attacks equal to 15% of his defense, and he inflicts guard. So he's got true defense there, he's inflicting guard, pretty similar actually to what we saw from Cormag, except Har does not have -1 special trigger. And he's got a Brave Attack, so he plays up with Gambit 4 actually even better than Cormag does. So just some food for thought with this guy. He's a pretty solid merge project at this point. Alright, so next up is what? Awakening? Let's go ahead and move on to Awakening. This is a very long video, by the way. I didn't intend for this to go on this long. But we want to make sure we're thorough here and we talk about all the titles. So Brave Robin is my pick for the best Awakening unit. And, I mean, there's a lot of good stuff here. Winter Cordelia is amazing as well. Bride Tiki rears her head once again. All of the Crom units that have variant versions of to change fate so they can repo and take another action. Legendary Robin as well, nice support. But I would take the Rally Spectrum over the Unity support any day of the week. And then Bunny Sonia is also really good with the pulsing on her duo skill for like all your other units as well from this title. So there's definitely some good stuff here. I don't really want this video to go on for too much longer, but we'll quickly skim through here. Na can be a nice support if you've got her. Yenfei, I mean, you would have to swap his weapon out for the Arcane Devourer, but people built him up, so he could actually still work, kind of. Alright, Phil is okay. She can be a nice merge project. New Year Yarn is pretty solid, too. This Owain, the Valentine one, and the New Year Pan are both pretty good merge projects, but they're seasonal 4 stars. I'm just trying to see if there's anything, like, really worthwhile. Muriel can be good, too, like, with the Special Spiral 4 and the Times Pulse build. We need that Arcane Blue Tome, though. That's really the only thing about her. And yeah, I mean, like, anytime you see these mages, like Morgan as well, the male Morgan, any mage that you see here will work with the Special Spiral and Times Pulse build. Bonus points if they're a red mage, because they can also use Arcane Eclipse. So, just some options there for the Awakening roster. Let's go ahead and move on to Fates up next. So, for Fire Emblem Fates, there's quite a lot of stuff here. I gave it to Legendary Hinoka, surprise, surprise, but there were a couple of good units here as well. Like Thief Nina, for example. Winter Cordelia is also in here. And then we got Valentine Elise, too. So, I mean, I gave it to Hinoka for the support. Like, she's just too busted. Like, what she does to your other flying units. So, I had to have Hinoka at the top. But all these other honorable mentions are all very good. We got both of the Dancing Azuras, Legendary and Hatari. Hatari's probably a little better here because you can use the Harmonic skill to dance a second time. Ninja Korin with her duo skills really good. Thief Nina's got like unlimited range and Kanto, so that's really good. Fallen Lilith with her support's really good. Halloween Korin, of course, and Brave Korin, both very nice bait options. And then Valentine Elise with that duo skill giving you dominance, like so crazy. So yeah, let's see here. I mean, I'm not going to talk about the tome units anymore because you already get the gist. This Effie is a nice God Axe. Hana's a nice God Axe as well. Hans is pretty good. He's not really a God Axe. He's more of like a nuker. But very good option, though. Valori is pretty nice with her support if you can like figure out who you want to give that to. And let's see if there's any good flyers, right? Oh, can't forget about Laszlo, by the way. Shoutouts to Zishato for that one. Oh, Ophelia, too. Dude, Ophelia is very easy to merge, and she's a unit that I'm sure a lot of people went for, so you probably have her at least at one copy. So she would work out pretty well. And she's pre-built out of the box. She's got Spiral 4 and Arcane Eclipse, so you're good. Yeah, and then there's pretty much like a bunch of Azura Dancers that we've got here. A bunch of mages that you can abuse the Special Spiral stuff with. And that's pretty much it. Like, I mean, anything I didn't honorably mention, that's good. You can pretty much get the gist of, for the most part. All right, let's go ahead and move on to 3 houses. This is like the final big roster. Or we'll do heroes after 3 houses. So I've got Summer Edelgard as the best unit from 3 houses just because of the versatility. She can do a player phase roll, enemy phase roll, and also she scores good. But, I mean, look at what she's competing with here. We got T. Lysithea. We got freaking all of the Shez units that are just monsters on the player phase. Like, Legendary Shez aged so well. That unit aged like fine wine, man, compared to like when she came out. You look at some of the skills we've got now, like Physical Null Follow-Up, and we've got also Firestorm Dance 3 to give her the instant desperation. Like, this unit is so insane now, as opposed to back then when she came out. But, I mean, if you've got her, she's gonna, like, lay waste to everything. Brave Edelgard's a nice armored unit. Fallen Byleth as well can be a nice, like, Omni tank with the Vantage. I brought up Felix as well to recycle GLR. He's pretty good. Brave Dimitri's a nice all-around tank, Omni tank. Rearmed Ingrid was worth a mention. Then all of the Shez units, like I said, all the ones with effective damage and brave attacking. T. Ira, again. Legendary Yuri is nice. Regular Yuri is pretty good, too. They both do, like, pretty much the same stuff. I got Arvel in here as well. Harmonic Dorothea for the double dancing. Harmonic Lysithea, Duo Shamir, Gatekeeper, fun option there. So yeah, there's definitely some stuff from 3 houses, and it's one of the most, like, beloved games when it comes to releases. So there's no shortage of good units there. I doubt anyone is struggling with 3 houses. All right, let's go to Heroes up next. Now, Heroes is, in my opinion, probably the single best roster in the game. You look at some of the stuff they've got. Like, Duo Thor is a monster. Duo Asker as well, like one of the best pulsing support units, because getting pulse effects on non-infantry types is really rare, and Duo Asker does that, so that's really good with him. He's also a fantastic nuke and bait option. Then there's Duo Dagger with her annoying duo skill, Duo Ymir with the miracle effect and like how good she can be as a bait option. So it's just like no shortage of good stuff. Emblem can be nice, turning off save skills. Ash is good for the warping effect if you don't have Guidance 4, etc., etc. Like, Summer Fiorm's a really good God Sword. So, I mean, I think you guys get the gist pretty much. There's only 2 more titles to go, and they're not very big. So, we'll just wrap up here and call this video a day. Starting with TMS. I don't even know why I talked about this, but, I mean, Kyria maybe is the best unit. She's a red tome, so you can give her Arcane Eclipse and then Spiral 4 and Time Spell 4. Her weapon is not much better. It just gives her attack up 3, and then it gives her attack and res -6 on all foes within 2 spaces. So, like, a better version of a rain skill, but, I mean, dude, like, why did they even bother making this its own separate category? What's funny is that this shows up in Resonant Battles, and there's, like, nothing you can really use in Resonant Battles that's here. So, I don't know why they did that, but maybe one day we'll get another banner for this game. And then finally, Engage, which has some really strong stuff, but it's just not got enough units yet. So Alchrist, in my opinion, is probably the best unit from here. He's just a monster of a player phase option. Does a lot of damage with his weapon and B skill combo. And we've got Diamant, Citrine, and Alir as honorable mentions, but also, I mean, Zephy is a really good merge project. Ivy's a pretty good nuker. Also, Lapis is a really good merge project too, as is Etier if you give her Alchrist's weapon. So there's definitely some good stuff going around here, but the idea would be with Alir, you have her support with Citrine to give charge, and then Citrine is giving charge to everybody else on the team. So that would be the idea here for Engage, and that's pretty much going to cover us for this video here. Went on for a little bit longer than I intended, but hopefully all this discussion was helpful to you guys, and if you're trying to find a way to do better in those limited hero battles, or just for fun wanted to know which rosters were the best, there you guys go. So that's going to wrap us up for this video. Leave your comments in the comments section on what other videos you want me to cover. And this is your boy Tacho signing out. So take care, fellas, and I'll catch y'all again on the flip side.